Hello and welcome to day 14. 2 weeks of love. Yeah. If you're watching the replay, please hit hashtag replay. Let me know so I can send you some love. And if these calls, these broadcasts have shifted anything for you, and I trust they have, I've gotten some really good feedback about it, then I would love to hear from you. I would love to know if that has happened for you and in what way, right? Be as specific as possible. So, welcome to day 14. So what we'll do is we'll start at 5 minutes after the content. Up until that point, I'm allowing people to filter on in, get situated, and do some greetings. So, who's here? Who is here? Who's joining me today? I decided I'm going to start dressing festive until for the rest of the month I can reds and, well, maybe not every day, but we'll see. And I do like my PJs. However, it also feels good to, look nice. Yeah. Who's here? Today, we're going to be talking about favor, more about favor, but specifically two things. Number one, how does favor cure shame? How does favor cure shame? All right, that's a big deal. There's a lot of shame in the world. There's a lot of shame that's getting thrown at each other. There's a lot of shame that we've internalized for a lot of reasons, right? So favor is a cure. It's a cure. And I want to talk about that a little bit today. I'm also going to give you some biblical authority for favor so that you know this isn't just Mary Ann's big idea or any of the other people out there that are speaking about it. It is actually a real thing. So stay tuned for that and to look forward to seeing you in your comments. All right? So who's here? For those of you who don't know, I have written a book. Let's see, can we show it? It's because of the blur factors on. Anyway, I've written a book called Have I Ever Told You You're My Favorite? It's a result of 2 years of being immersed in the favor of God, studying it, seeing it, God bringing things to my mind and my attention about it. And I was so excited about it that I couldn't help but write a book about it. And it kind of catapulted me into a speaking career, which I never expected, not in a million years. And then it changed my counseling into coaching and into business coaching. And so it's been the beginning of a lot. I've seen so much favor over my lifetime. Hey, Kim, it's good to see you. Yes. Yeah, I've seen a lot of favor over my lifetime. But I will tell you, there were years I went, most of my life actually, where I did not feel favored. I felt the exact opposite. I felt like the least favored person in the room. I felt like my presence was just like imposing upon people, you know? I always felt like odd man out. This was not true. I was not those things, but that is how I felt because I had the belief that I'm defective. I had the belief that I'm flawed in some way. And so I always felt like I want to be where the action is. I want to be where people are doing things and where a lot is going on, you know? But these beliefs held me back. These beliefs held me back. And that's why I needed an overhaul in my thinking. So the second half of my life, well, I don't know the second half, but, starting at about mid-40s and going forward, my life has been an overhaul. It's been about an overhaul in my thinking. It's been an overhaul in my beliefs. It's been about, kiss the lie goodbye, get rid of false beliefs and expand into higher, bigger, more um, beliefs that align with God, beliefs that align with, and not always did they align with the church. Not always did they align with my circle of friends, not always did they align with my family. So a lot of times when you're making a shift in your thinking, and I just want to warn you guys, when you're making a shift in your thinking, you will get pushback. You'll get your own mental pushback, but you're also going to get pushback from the people around you because you start to think differently and act differently. When you start to believe differently, it changes your thoughts. It changes how you feel about yourself. Okay. It can stir up some frustrations and anger that you maybe put up with things before that maybe you shouldn't have, or you didn't know any better, right? So when you start to expand and start to elevate your thoughts, it can cause a shift, not just in you, but in your environment and your relationships around you. So um, a lot of times that's why we need support around us. We need people who understand, right? Because it happens. It does happen. And when you get too much of a pushback from your environment, then you're likely to go back to what I call the trough. You're likely to go back to the trough and just eat the old lies that you're trying to get rid of. It takes a while for these things to process, for things to shift, for you to get rewired, for your heart to open again, for you to feel safe with the new beliefs, right? It's a process. So don't beat yourself up over it. Don't beat up on other people over it. All right? Yeah, we have to be patient with ourselves and patient with the people around us. Yeah, your thinking differently will cause you to act differently, but it's also going to cause you to have different results in your life. And that's pretty cool too. Okay. So, what time? Oh my gosh. So, here's the thing. Um, we talked yesterday about favor being approving consideration, where God is saying to his creation, it is good. And then him saying to his human creation is very good, right? And how does that help us? How does that help us to know that God thinks of us with approving consideration? Well, we talked about how when we approve of something, we feel that sense of, yeah, it is good. I am good, right? You are good. When we have that sense, it causes a swelling in our heart. It's a feel good. It's a feel good. We have a greater openness to that person. We have greater joy when we're around that person or that thing, right? So, approval, which we all are looking for. I knew that had to be Carol. Uh, Hello, your royal gorgeousness. But when we have approval around us, then where we're approving of something, it does create an expansiveness in our hearts. It makes us feel like we're safe with that person. We're safe with them being with us. All right. So it creates a safety net, which we do need. And then it creates an expansiveness. It gives us a greater ability to receive. And that's what all this is about. What can we do to increase our capacity to receive? What can we do to increase our capacity to receive? To receive love, to receive favor, to receive abundance, to receive more money, to receive better relationships, right? First step is believe. What are you going to believe in? You need to know what to believe. And what you need to believe in is the goodness of God, the love he has for you, the favor he has for you, because that is the beginning of everything else. So you believe these things, and anything that is contrary to that in your thoughts, you get rid of. Kiss the lie goodbye. All right? It's not a simple process, but it is simple. You kiss the lie goodbye. Then you embrace truth. So that way you can believe new truths about who you are, new truths about your value and your worth, new truths about how God blesses you and is involved in your life, new truths about what you can do in this world, right? So that has to be shored up. So you kiss the lie goodbye, you embrace the truth, right? And then that opens you up to receive. And once you start to receive more love, more abundance, more favor, right? Then you are more likely to achieve your dreams through the power of this love, through creativity, through God showing you the pathway, all right? So a lot of this is about ultimately you achieving the dreams in your heart, achieving what it is you really want in life, what God has commissioned you to do, assigned you to do, that wonderful place where he's working his wonders through you. Okay? So favor is a big piece of this. Favor is a byproduct of love. All right. So the more favor you receive, the more love you receive, and the more abundance you receive. And then the more you can share. Make sense, everybody? Make sense? Okay. So today, let me just mention this now. I was going to mention it later, but I'll mention this now. Shame and guilt. Shame is that feeling, again, that belief in the feeling that I'm deficient in some way, that I'm not worthy in some way. I'm not worthy for blessings. I'm not worthy for abundance. I'm not worthy for wealth. I'm not worthy of, marvelous relationships, right? Shame is the I'm not worthy and I'm deficient in some way. Favor says that's not true. Favor says you're more than worthy. Favor says you're not deficient and flawed, but you're delightful. You're precious. You're a precious jewel. You're actually perfect in the eyes of God, and He's going to hold nothing back from you because of it, right? So shame is cured by favor. But when we said the other day, you have to immerse yourself in favor. So it can grab you and take residence in your very cells. And the other day I was saying how, no matter where you cut me, I'm going to bleed favor. And why is that? Because I've made it my business. I have made it my business to immerse myself, to study, to immerse myself, to apply, and to see and expect favor and experience favor wherever I go. And most people who know me, I think Carol can testify to this, most people who know me know that I do walk in a lot of favor. That's my expectation. That's for me. God gave it to me. Why would I not use it, right? Why would you not use it? So I want to just point out today. So today, the one thing I wanted to talk to you about besides that was that in the Old Testament, favor was, you see favor a lot throughout the Old Testament. And it sounds like this. Abraham asked for the favor of the Lord to not pass him by. My Lord, if now I have found favor in thy sight, pass not away, I pray you, from thy servant. Showing such favor, the Lord stayed and announced that Sarah, though she was old, would give birth to a baby. Okay? So favor was sought after. People realized they needed favor in order for them to accomplish great things. And a lot of times it was said in terms of, if I have your favor, if I have favor in your sight, all right? If I have favor in your sight. And then the request came in the book of Nehemiah, all right? He was a cupbearer. He spent time with God. He had a heart for his people, and he went to the king. And he said, if I have favor in your sight, may I go to my homeland? Right? Not only did he get to go, but he was lavishly supplied with everything he needed and more for the journey and to do the work. Okay? So this is a big deal. Throughout the book of Esther, I studied the book of Esther from the vantage point of favor. Yes, just favor. When you look at Esther, and we oftentimes think about Esther as being that heroine who delivered the Jewish nation from annihilation, and that she did. But we don't oftentimes see that she was bathing in favor every single day when upon entering the castle. I wrote, entering the palace from that point on, every single day she experienced favor, every single day. And so favor actually transformed her from being an orphan, a captive orphan girl, into a courageous, queen who delivered the people. The point of delivering the people, and it is celebrated every year. They celebrate, the Jews celebrate Purim, Purim, every year. And it's a celebration of Esther's courage and deliverance of the Jewish nation. Now, I believe, and my take on this is the only way that she could actually step up to the plate, because over and over again, she had to go to the king and say, if I have favor in your sight. And she was risking her life to do that. But if I have favor in your sight, and then she put out a request. I don't believe she could put out her request and have the courage she had if she had not had the experience and the immersion in favor. Okay? So when you read that book, the book of Esther, go back, pick out all the times that favor was granted to her. All right. And then you're going to see the connection. So for us, sometimes we feel like captive, orphans and captives. Like maybe we think God has abandoned us. Maybe people have abandoned us. Maybe we're in a time and place and a position where we just don't feel like people understand us. We can feel lost at sea. We can feel like captives. We can feel like orphans, right? What we need is a steady stream of favor, an immersion of favor. So I would ask God, if you ever feel that way, and sometimes, you know what? I've been there. When I feel that way, studying about favor, thinking about favor is the last thing I want to do. What I actually want to do is feel sorry for myself. What I actually want to do is go, no, it's true. I can tell you all the examples and all the times that I have been abandoned, or that I have been dismissed or not regarded well, or just excluded, whatever, left, bullied, whatever, right? I can tell you all that. I'm a lawyer. I can build a case. I can build a case for abandonment. I can build a case for rejection, right? But then I think to myself, why do I want to do that? Because it makes you feel right. Because it makes you feel like, oh, okay, I've been thinking this way my whole life. Yep, it's confirmed. I'm right. My brain's right. I'm right. Well, really? Does that really serve you? Does that really help you to be who you're meant to be and do what you're meant to do and to receive the things that God is for you? No. So whenever you find yourself like sliding into that pity party, sliding into that victimhood, right? As soon as you notice it, stop it in its tracks. Stop it in its tracks and go and get yourself some favor. Encourage yourself. That's one of the things that King David did. He encouraged himself in love, in the Lord, in favor. He encouraged himself. And sometimes there's nobody around you to do it. So you got to do it yourself, right? So favor is a very big deal. And so we need to treat it as such. Okay. All right. So that is, favor isn't just for the Old Testament saints. And favor wasn't just given to people who acted perfectly. Abraham was perfect in the eyes of God, but he did not act perfectly most of the time, a lot of the time. Okay? But his faith, he had faith. Nevertheless, he had faith. David, as we know, lots and lots of errors, lots and lots of mistakes, lots of bad decisions. But he had a heart for God. God saw him as perfect, and he treated him as such, right? Yeah. So favor is not just for, it's really not for, you don't have to act perfect. That's what I'm trying to say. You don't have to behave perfectly, act perfectly, do everything right in order to get favor. You can't earn it. You just have to receive it. You have to accept, believe first that it's yours. And second, you have to position yourself to receive it. Now, one of the ways you can receive it is through the meditation. Do you remember the meditation that I was giving you the other day? There's so many ways to meditate. Oh, go meditate when you feel low. Thank you, Clara. Yes, yes. Meditation is such a powerful tool. And sometimes there's all different kinds of ways to meditate, right? What I like to do personally is I like to quiet myself. We did this a few days ago. I gave you an example of it. I don't remember what day it was on, but I like to quiet myself. I do some really deep breathing, slow breathing until I feel my body calm down, until I feel at peace within. And I set a timer for 10 minutes. And during that time, and I ask God, what do you want to say to me today? And really, regarding favor, what do you want to say to me about favor? Did anybody do that? We talked about that yesterday. Did anybody do that over the course from yesterday to today? No? I'm assuming that the quietness is no. Well, whether you did it or you didn't do it, did anybody have any thoughts? Anybody have any thoughts about it? Anything sink in? Anything shift? So while you're thinking about that, one of my participants here sent me a note, and thank you everybody who sends me uh, Facebook messages about any shifts you're having. But I'm not going to name her name, but she has a business. She's a businesswoman. And she says, "Hi, just want to let you know I have been looking forward to your Facebook Lives on most days. I feel like it's easier for me to receive now. And because of that, I actually made some money today without giving a discount, even with a customer who has asked for it a few times. She ended up paying me happily. Thank you." So, how does that work? How does that work? Well, when you receive more love and you receive more favor, something happens on the inside of you. A confidence develops. Now, you may not have the confidence to charge fees and prices for whatever your program is, right? This is if you have businesses and you sell your services or you sell products or programs. Um, you may not have the confidence to actually ask for what it is you desire in setting your fees. So that can make you kind of wishy-washy, and people can basically say, well, how about if I pay this instead, or they want discounts. And you may think, well, I don't want to be a bad guy, or I don't want to be, I don't want to, you know, I don't want them to think I'm greedy, or I don't want them to think I don't care about them. And there's all kinds of chatter. Okay. There's all kinds of chatter. When you feel the favor of God inside of you and you feel that love, it makes you feel confident. And I'm not saying that you don't offer a discount. You could still offer a discount. All right. But you want to do it out of confidence. You don't want to do it out of fear. You want to do it because you want to. It's a desire of your heart to do it. Right. But doesn't it feel good when you offer something, your services and your programs, and you know the value that it brings to people, you know how it can change lives, and they happily invest in that work? Yeah, it's a wonderful thing. None of us want to feel like we're extracting and pulling money out of somebody, like we're somehow giving them some kind of hardship, right? Favor inside can give you that sense of confidence. And what that does actually is it radiates. You don't even have to assert yourself because the energy going from you does the job for you. The energy going from you does the job for you. Okay? All right. I want to address the issue about somebody asked me about bullying too, and I want to address that as well. Good, Clara. All right, Diana. I asked God for favor yesterday because I had more to do than I had time for. God moved traffic out of my way, gave me a closer parking spot, and got me to my dinner appointment 5 minutes early. If you were in Knoxville, 5 o'clock traffic on a regular basis, you would know this was favor. Awesome. I love it. I love it. Yes. Yes, favor is that. The other thing too, you don't mention this, Diana, but it's in what you're saying. I used to feel very pressed for time all the time. How am I going to get done? All the stuff I need to get done. And I would always get really stressed about it, and I'd start barking at the kids or my husband or start muttering because I got all this to do. And where is everybody? Why isn't anybody helping me? Blah, blah, blah. And the Lord said to me one day, Marianne, when I said I came to give you life and life to the full, I came to give you abundantly, life abundantly, I meant time also. You have an abundance of time. And when I start to think about that, I realize, we're only given 24 hours a day. That's how it's set up. For some reason, even though God is eternal and he's timeless, right? We are living in a 24/7 world. So how do you expand time? How does that work? Well, an abundance of time means that whatever time you have, it's abundant. You have an abundance of time. You have more time than you need to get done the things that you really need to get done. Now, sometimes we take on way too much and we feel like we don't have enough time. So that could be an opportunity for you to look at that and go, maybe I've got too much on my plate. If I can't get done what I need to in this abundance of time I've been given, right? Then maybe I need to reprioritize. Maybe I need to take some things off my plate. The other thing is this. If you're feeling stressed, like, I don't have enough time. How am I going to get all this done? And you start to feel your heart kind of like flutter, right? Well, the thing that you can do is, I got lipstick on my hand. The thing you can do, right, is stop and breathe and go, I have an abundance of time. I have an abundance of time. Everything I need to get done is going to get done. And if it doesn't, it didn't need to. I have an abundance of time. So stop the busyness, slow down, take a breath, and receive the abundance of time that God has given to you. All right? Yeah. Hi, Neil. Good to see you. You're probably at work. Thank you. Yes, Clara, time is special. Time is special. Yeah. So one other thing I wanted to mention, is that I did get a message from someone about being bullied. She's been bullied a lot in her lifetime. She felt bullied by her ex-husband, and now she's in a job, and the coworkers are bullying her there. So how does this actually work? How does favor work in the face of bullying, right? How does favor, you know what? Because of the time, I'm actually going to tackle that tomorrow. All right. How does favor work? Is that something any of you would be interested in? Like when people treat you with disregard, or they're disrespectful to you, or they are oppressive, maybe it doesn't amount to full out bullying. All right. But is that something that And if it's not something you guys are interested in, then I will just talk with her privately and I won't even talk about it here. But if this is something that any of you would like more discussion about, just let me know. Yes, Neil, I got what you're saying. What you're talking about right now is crucially relevant for my situation at the moment. Yeah, probably a lot of people right now are feeling the press of time, the press to get things done. We tend to do that too. I don't know if that's just because it's closer to Christmas time and there's a lot going on, Neil, or if it's just a general, this is how life is. It just seems to be this way, you know? But hopefully that suggestion I made to you will work no matter what, whether it's the season or it's just everyday life. Yeah. When the Israelites were being bullied, David saw God's favor. Yes. Oh, does my blouse look burgundy? It's actually really red, really red. The cameras kind of do weird things, don't they? Yeah. Let's take that up tomorrow, Diana. I think that's a really good illustration. All right. One more thing that the Lord gave me about immersing yourself in favor. He showed me the illustration of a, a tall glass of mud. It's just thick mud. All right. A lot of times that's how we're seeing life is through the lens of mud. It's not very clear. It's not very pretty, right? So when you take a glass of thick mud, assuming there's some movement to it, I'm not saying hard baked on clay, though that might work eventually, but you just take some liquid mud and you put it under a faucet and you just run water over that thing. Eventually, what happens is that overflowing, the mud starts to overflow the sides. And if you do it long enough, the water goes from like that thick brown to kind of a tan color. And eventually it's just kind of like faint. And eventually it becomes clear. It becomes clear, right? That's what we want to do with our mindsets about favor and about love. Okay? Just think of yourself, the immersion process, that's what it's doing. You're just putting on a faucet over the top of the mud, and it's just breaking up that mud, and it's making the mud spill over the sides, and eventually the mud is going to be replaced by clear water. Nice sparkling water, right? Okay. Yes, Clara, it is kind of red hot. Just like me. Yeah. Not really, but Anyway, so see you guys tomorrow. Yeah, we'll talk more about favor. I got some cool things to tell you about favor tomorrow as well. And love you. Receive the love. My heart to yours. Okay. Adios. Bye-bye.